What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to Tactical Newbie, the channel where a newbie like me gets into all things tactical. With the funny movie introductions out of the way, per usual, like we always do, let's get right into today's video. So today's video is going to be yet another tactical comparison video, a part of the tactical comparison segment of videos that I feature on the channel. This one is going to be a little bit different in that this will kind of be a featurette of basically, as what you saw by the thumbnail, the Safariland holster, at least the one that I currently have from Safariland, and a couple variations of mock clones that are readily available, at least up to this point, on Amazon, and just kind of doing a cross comparison visually of all the three holsters that I'll be kind of showcasing on display, one of which for a SIG P320, and then two for at least the Glock 19X. Two of which will be airsoft guns, so keep that in mind. I will be showcasing, at least for the Safariland, the actual legitimate Safariland, will be my actual Glock 19X. And then the other two variants are going to be through airsoft pistols, just because of the fact that, I don't have that many pistols, at least to be rocking, and I don't have that many Safariland holsters, at least up to this point, to be able to showcase. So with all that being said and done, let's get right into the video. We'll do at least a mock mild display of basically what we're dealing with here. So these are at least two of the Safariland, the actual Safariland here, and the clone that you can get off of Amazon. As you can tell, there are some variable similarities and differences across the board. At least in this specific instance, there are in fact probably more differences than there are similarities. The good thing about the clone Safariland, keep in mind that this YouTube is unloaded. There's nothing in it. This is at least a good variable option for at least if you're trying to conserve a couple dollars. It is not perfect by any regard. You do have some shift and some movement in at least the holster within itself, which then can cause some slight issues for anybody that obviously is a perfectionist when it comes to specific gear. But as you can tell by the variation of the legitimate Safariland, you got very, very minor shifting at the most. And, at least for the most part, these holsters are manufactured. YouTube, this is empty. These holster manufacturers, at least through Safariland, or at least manufactured to fit and built specifically for the gun that you have specifically set up. So that's kind of one of the weird loopholes that at least the knockoff Safarilands does kind of do. It kind of give you a lump sum one size fits all with specific gun manufacturers. This one was slated for the Glock 17. So there is not much of a perfect fit because obviously the 19X is not exactly a 17 and not exactly a 19, kind of a crossbreed between the two. But with all the rambling out of the way, we will get these things on the table and take a look. And I'll give you a kind of a visual look of all three of the holsters, at least variants, give you price points in between, and kind of give you as best as possible a visual breakdown of everything across the board. But with all that being said and done, let's get right into the video, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Alrighty, and away we go. So first, we will start by getting the price points out of the way. We'll start first with the Safariland 6304 RDS. Retail price is $285.25. Then we'll move our way over to the Safariland clone, the 6354 DO. Retail price is $55.99. And then the other Safariland clone, which has a retail price of $48.98. So just comparatively looking at all three of these, at least holster systems, you can tell that they are fairly similar in nature, even though all three of the holster styles are a little bit different. For anybody that doesn't know, Safariland basically offers a number of different variations of their at least prototypical holster based on a couple different configurations, depending on if you're looking for single form retention, a secondary form, or like a three-tier form of retention. I don't know why I made that more difficult than it really had to be. In reality, it's a level 1, level 2, and level 3 style retention, to the best of my knowledge. But all in all, as you can tell, that this is a level 3 style retention. It's got the overhead flap and then a secondary, at least protection of the if you did have a weapon light. Moving over to the Safariland clone of the 6354 DO. This one I bought for the SIG P320. Keep in mind that, of course, the SIG that I am rocking is a clone and is not the real pistol, but for the most part, the actual holster within itself is of a pretty decent quality. This is one of my newer holsters that I got out of the kind of bundle that I have been rocking for the last like 2 years or so, so that's why it is honestly in kind of at least a better condition overall quality, and something comparable to my newer actual Safariland holster that I have over there to the left. Now, taking a look from here to the other clone, which is basically this one, just within itself didn't really have a at least identification number, but this is one of the first at least original clone knockoff Safariland holsters that I got with a multitude of my different variations of budget build setups, battle belt setups. All in all, the quality has held up pretty decently. As you can tell, that there is at least a little bit of at least fraying of some of the at least a holster Fedora wrap around certain points and areas where you can tell that you get at least some pretty consistent rub points from the pistol, from indexing and pulling out the pistol for obviously training, dry fire training, and then actually I've taken it out to the range a couple of times. All in all, as you can tell, at least doing a cross comparison of the at least the OG, the true original Safariland versus at least the first at least Ranger Green clone, you can tell that comparatively there are quite a few similarities across the board. Obviously, one of the primary differences is you don't have at least the level 3 style retention for the clone, but everything else across the board is actually fairly similar. Downside is that Amazon doesn't really sell anything of that level 3 retention. It's just single stage level 1 retention across the board. So you kind of are limited in the decisions of what you can actually get through Amazon. But taking a look at the other, at least the multicam version, you can tell that there is quite significant similarities between these two holsters as well. Now, across the board, you get kind of, I guess, some of the good with some of the bad when you're actually dealing with these knockoff holsters, which I'll kind of touch on a little bit more in detail as we kind of progress through the video. But one of those primary things is actual, at least pistol retention. Obviously, if you buy the holster directly from Safariland, you're basically setting the pistol holster up to almost pretty much exactly the specs of your specific pistol, make and model, and then the light that you are rocking. You get a variable of different options to choose from to basically allocate about as maximal or as perfect of a fit for your pistol as possible. It even boils down to like the specific red dot optics that you might be running to at least allocate for that optic hood that protects the optic. But when it comes to at least the Amazon clones, you're basically getting a base bare minimum without any real adjustment or variation. Most of the Amazon clones come stock fitted for at least a Streamlight X300 or X300U pistol light. If you are rocking the holster without at least that X300 or something comparable pistol light, the retention of the pistol within itself does not hold very, very well. As you can tell, I am rocking at least an X300. It is not an actual X300 though. It is a knockoff. It will obviously be featured in a video at some point in the future. But it was across the board same at least dimensions as the original OG Streamlight X300U, and it does fit in the knockoff holsters pretty well. My actual Safariland in the Wolf Gray is fitted for an Olight Valkyrie weapon light, and as you can tell, as I'm kind of shaking everything around, there's pretty much no wiggle or movement whatsoever with the pistol inside the holster. As I did kind of touch on a little bit earlier, you do have at least a little bit of wiggle room in the two knockoff at least holsters within themselves. I think both, at least the Glock variation of the knockoff Safariland holster is technically rated for, at least it's meant to fit a Glock 17. Obviously, most of you can tell I'm rocking a Glock 19X, which is kind of a composite of the 19 with like a 17 at least frame. It does fit pretty well within the at least knockoff Safariland holster. I'd be interested to see if Glock 17 actually fits better, obviously because the dimensions are a little bit longer. Only time will tell when I actually get the 17 if that will actually fit better. But moving over to the SIG P320 holster, as I'm kind of fiddling with the Streamlight knockoff light. The actual retention for that holster within itself is actually across the board pretty similar. You do get a little bit of wiggle, which I have kind of thought of different avenues and ideas to try to eliminate some of that wiggle, whether it not be for a double-sided sticky at least foam or something of that nature to kind of help kind of seat the pistol into place a little bit better. All in all, the SIG variation of the holster does hold a little bit better with the X300 light, but one of the downsides that I ran into with the knockoff light on this specific setup is that the actual holster knocks the back battery clasp of the X300 knockoff light out of place every single time that I pull it out from the holster, which is not necessarily super ideal. Obviously, for a holster within itself, you want to be able to at least pull your pistol out from the holster without any type of catch-up or any type of catching of certain corners or things, and obviously not to, yard sale your weapon light batteries all over the place as you're pulling out your pistol to fire, or whether it be for dry fire practice or anything of that nature. Now, one thing, of course, to touch on, as you can tell, I did show at least the cross compatibility for these holsters across the board. As you can tell, as I'm sliding my at least Olight Valkyrie into the knockoff Safariland, that's rated for the Surefire, as I said, Streamlight a bunch of times earlier, Surefire X300 pistol light. So it does show some cross compatibility with other light manufacturers, pistol light manufacturers. And then a little bit earlier in the video, as you did saw, I did actually install the Surefire X300 on the other pistol and slid it into the actual Safariland at least holster. And even though it is rated for an Olight Valkyrie, at least the dimensions are similar enough to where the pistol with the Surefire X300 light in it can fit, but there is some little bit of some slight sizing issues, as you can tell, as I showcased at least the flashlight actually signaling and turning on down at the bottom of the holster because of the actual positioning of the actual at least buttons that turn on the light within itself. When you actually hit the release at least knob or button for the actual Safariland, it actually does tap the X300's at least illuminator lights or illuminator button, and in doing so you get a pretty decent shine from the bottom of the holster within itself. But all in all, this is kind of, like I stated before, just a pretty decent tactical comparison of at least the actual Safariland holster, the only one that I have at this present time, and comparing it to their two Amazon clone counterparts, which just gives you across the board at least a decent idea of what you're kind of working with if you decided to go at least the clone knockoff counterpart route.
Key to success in this racket is this little baby right here. It's called cocaine. Right. It will keep you sharp between the ears. It'll also help your fingers dial faster. And guess what? That's good for me.
Alrighty, now from here we will at least kind of wrap things up with just kind of a mock, at least fit check for the most part of all three of the Safariland holsters, both the OG Safariland holster and the two knockoff clones, and show how they retrofit with their at least QLS locking force system, which is a part of at least I think it's patented with Safariland. But of course, the long short of it is these Safariland clones basically utilize the same locking fork kind of system, which allows you to quickly pull the holster from your battle belt, at least holster mount, whether it be a drop leg mount, whether it be some sort of composite mount, or at least in the instance that I have here, which is a wilder tactical version of the True North concepts, at least a drop mount holster platform. But across the board, just kind of showcasing how basically all three of these holsters can interlock onto any QLS system across the board. Long and short of it is that it has the at least the kind of patented or easily identifiable fork system. There's pretty much a 99.9% certainty that it will fit on any QLS interlocking system, whether it be from Safariland or whether it be at least the back plate and the fork from Amazon, which you can actually get for a pretty decent price point across the board. So at least something to take into consideration if for whatever reason if you do have a OG Safariland system or at least holster platform system, and maybe your QLS fork breaks, you can actually get some pretty decent ones for the most part from Amazon. Just a couple things to touch on, of course. Most of the price points that I did feature, of course, on this tactical comparison video were before any sort of Chinese tariffs or any other additional tariffs were kind of implemented with the new administration. So take that for what it is. Obviously, as this video kind of progresses throughout time, it's only time will really tell if some of these, at least price points for some of these knockoff items, are going to continue to be of the affordable route. Obviously, if you're paying anything close to what you're paying for a Safariland holster off of Amazon, basically the Chinese knockoff variant, and you're paying almost as much for the knockoff as you are for the legitimate thing, it's just across the board just probably better to get the real thing at that point. The whole point to highlight with the tactical comparison segment of videos is to give guys options to at least save a couple dollars. Obviously, like I said, $285 for a holster platform system is pretty expensive, and obviously in today's at least economic time or era, for the most part, as I struggle with that, money's tight. It can be tight for a lot of people, so if money's reasonably tight and you're looking for at least a Safariland like holster platform that obviously will not perform to the same level as Safariland, but can at least give you that type of look, and maybe with some specific slight alterations you might be able to get a decent setup similar to it. Going the budget route is definitely an option to consider. But all things considered, just like I said, the same thing as I've done with multitude of my other tactical comparison segments and videos, this is just kind of a cross comparison visually of all three, or at least the Safariland holster platform, and a couple at least two specific options of variable clones, like I said, to save a couple dollars if need be for a decent enough Safariland clone option without having to pay the full Safariland price. But with all that being said and done, just kind of wrap up here with just kind of giving a final display of all three holsters and how they look visually. But across the board, again, with the tactical comparison segment of videos, this is just to give guys options of where to go if you don't necessarily have the full Safariland money, at least right off rip. But yeah.
I hope you liked the video. Of course, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let me know what you think of today's tactical comparison video, a part of the tactical comparison segment of videos. I just want to do a couple run-throughs real quick of a couple things. Obviously, for those of you that are fan favorites of the channel, you might notice a little bit different setup at the new, at least Tactical Newbie cave, or the new Tactical Newbie office. I have transitioned into a new place where I'm currently residing, which does have obviously a little bit more space, so I do kind of have my own hunkered down at least tactical area or man cave in which I can now stream and basically record videos for you guys to either laugh at and make fun of or enjoy across the board. If you guys are interested to actually see a kind of a brief overview of the small space that I call an office, feel free to let me know in the comment section. I would be happy to show it to you in a short or anything of that nature. But with all that being said and done, I'd like to touch on the same stuff that I normally touch on at the end of every video. I do have a Twitter/X. Feel free to hit the link down in the description down below if you want to follow me there. I also do have a Patreon. Feel free to hit the link in that description as well if you would like to contribute any sort of patronage to the Patreon channel across the board. But with all things being said and done, this video has kind of been at least a follow-up introduction back into the recording game. Kind of took a couple weeks off with the transition of moving and getting obviously the studio/man cave set up. So this video is a little bit more rusty, I think, personally, than some of my other ones, so bear with me. But with all that being said and done, I will see you guys next week.